Pennsylvania Congressman Dan Meuser joins us now. He sits on the House Doge Caucus. So welcome, sir. Thanks for coming back on National Report. What do you make of this plan by Elon Musk and OPM and just the very difficult question, I guess it seems, to find 5 things you accomplished last week?
Yeah, hi, Emma. Good morning. Well, I'll tell you what, the 60 million people throughout the country who do not work for the federal government are shaking their heads, thinking that the senior advisor to the CEO/president would ask for a simple 3 to 4 line description of what they did last week. They should appreciate it. And you know what good employees do? Good employees lean in when they see something like that. They're not afraid of stating what's going on. Look, our federal government, we're overspending by almost $2 trillion. I had a colleague the other day say, oh boy, Tim Cook would never do this. Let me tell you something. Tim Cook would have done this 4 years ago if his company was losing $2 trillion a year, which the USA Inc. is losing. So this is a correction. It is a right sizing. It needs to be done. And you know what? Most of the country is applauding it. The support is far stronger than the dissent.
Yeah, what a great point. I mean, we're seeing that already, even in our industry, in cable news. We're seeing major cuts to high-paid anchors all around legacy media, cable news outlets that were once thriving. They're seeing themselves in the red, then they're cutting employees. I mean, that's what an easy way to understand it and well explained. This whole thing, though, causing a stir at CNN, speaking of cable news, with a couple of guests saying it's offensive to be sending these emails. Watch.
It's just plain wrong.
And it's random.
It's abusive.
It's random.
It's abusive.
Yes,
I do. I do think that. I think the way that they are. Yeah, I think the way that they are treating them.
Why? How is this abusive?
Scott, have you ever gotten an email from someone that said, you better do this or else you're going to resign?
Yeah, it's called having a boss in the private sector.
From someone who's not your boss?
The White House is every federal worker's boss. That's number one. The test was, are you even paying attention to your email? Are you even at your terminal?
Some federal workers, she sent it on a weekend. Some federal workers do not have access to their emails on the weekends. They just don't.
Did they go to work today?
Fascinating conversations that you hear on several different news networks. Congressman, your thoughts listening to that?
Well, it's just silly. You know, there are 2.5 million people that work for the federal government, right, certainly not including the military. There are 744,000 people that work at the Pentagon. And those same folks from CNN and MSNBC are crying, along with others, that 3,000 or so have been put on furlough or laid off. Look, this is nonsense. The results will speak for themselves. We need to reduce our spending. We have a very bloated government. We all know that 85% of those, even on the payrolls, were not showing up for like a few years. And that needs to continue to be reviewed. Look, the good people are going to be fine. For the most part, everybody's going to be fine. They can always make their case. We're seeing it within my district, some of the federal offices, and they can make their case to reapply for other positions where they'd probably have a better career in the first place, rather than sitting at a desk doing nothing.
Yeah, not to mention, Apple, we were talking about it earlier, plans to invest, $500 billion and find 20,000 jobs in the U.S. That news coming out yesterday. It's an investment in America. Some of those workers might be able to find a new job there, just throwing that out there. Congressman, you introduced a new bill. It kind of goes hand in hand with DOGE, the Payment Integrity Information Reform Act, targeting more than $200 billion in annual improper payments by the federal government. What do you hope this piece of legislation accomplishes?
Well, thanks, Emma. Yes, it's very important because there's $250 billion between that and $230 billion being overspent in an ineligible manner, an improper manner. And the worst part is there's being nothing done to fix it, although there are rules and requirements. And as well, they're doing nothing to recover it, even afterwards, very little anyway, nor the state. So this bill will create a overpayment czar, and the office should be no larger than a typical congressional office, in my view. And they're going to find out where this waste is taking place, why it's taking place, work out recovery rules, and also require the states, when they're engaged in overpayment of federal dollars, to either recover it or pay it back. Look, we're tightening up the ship. And I think the American people are going to appreciate it. We're going to save money and be able to use that money for the things that we need to.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.